Hello and welcome to the September 2025 GoldSim webinar. My name is Jason Lillywhite and I'll be talking about distributed processing. Oh, somebody said they don't see my screen. Apologies. Just making sure it's the right one. Okay, you should see a GoldSim model with a red container. So please let me know if you don't see that. Also, I'm going to open up properties here. If you cannot see the text shown on this property dialog, let me know and I'll adjust my screen resolution. But it looks like I haven't heard anything. No complaints yet. Okay, great. So today I want to talk about enabling the distributed processing module to make your runs go faster. So there are a couple of things to keep in mind about this. First of all, it's a module. It's an add-on module to GoldSim, but every GoldSim license comes with a free like DP Lite, I guess you could call it. It allows you to distribute up to 4 distributed processing clients. We call them DP clients. You can connect up to 4. So that means you could run 4 realizations at a time. So let me just back up and talk about what exactly this is. In a model, here's a simple model that I have. And in the simulation settings, you'll see here it runs for over 10,000 update times. Now, one thing I could do just for testing purposes, I could say, well, let's do this every hour instead. So that's multiplied by quite a bit there, just to make this a little bit beefier of a test. Okay, so also, I want to run 100 realizations, a Monte Carlo simulation, right? So this causes a batch run to occur where on each runs, we call them realizations. So in a Monte Carlo simulation, when you start this up, it will run 100 realizations. That's 100 simulations of this duration. Oops, I didn't mean to close that. Of this duration, calendar time from here to here with 1 hour time steps. All right, so given all of that, it will repeat those calculations for that duration of time and do that 100 times. So let's just, to get a feel for how long this takes to run it, let's just run it just in a normal run. Okay, so now you can see we're on realization 5, 6. It's taken a while, right? And we may not want to sit here and wait for this. So this would be a good example of a model that is just really taking a long time. So I'm going to clear that out, start over, just save this real quick. Okay, the next thing we need to do is, once we decide that, okay, I'm doing a Monte Carlo simulation, I want to use distributed processing to distribute all of these 100 realizations to different processors or different CPUs. And you can do that on your own computer, and I'll show you that. But ideally, you would have maybe a lot more, but they would be on your network with a very fast network connection speed. That would be ideal. But anyway, I've got a DP Plus license on my computer, so I can deal with a lot more DP clients, and I'll show you how to do that. But anyway, I just wanted to clear a couple of things up that, we've got other types of batch runs you can do in GoldSim. We've got the scenarios manager that allows you to run multiple scenarios in series. As it just walks through the list of your scenarios here, this is not included right now in DP Plus or DP. We have talked about it internally. We don't know how many people would benefit from it, but we think it could be beneficial. So let me know if you think so. Another place where we have kind of a batch run system is optimization and sensitivity analysis. Those also do not we don't have DP able to help those. It's just for running Monte Carlo simulations. So I just wanted to make sure that's clear. Okay, so to start one of these types of runs, if I just go up here and hit this right now, then what you'll see is whatever I had in there last time. So it turns out that I just had a whole bunch in there. And just to make it seem more like realistic, when you first open it, it might look something like this, or it might even just have nothing. Let's say it has nothing when you first open it. So we don't have any other we don't have any other cores that we can connect to at the moment. We don't even have them up and running. We need to get them up and running. So the best way to do that is with the player. So you could either run a DP client as another GoldSim instance, and that works just fine on your own computer because you already have a license, a standalone license. But like on on a network license, well, once you started distributing to other machines, you'd have to have a license on those machines, and so really you want to use the player. And there's no problem with the player; it should work just fine, right? Because all we're doing is repeating runs. Um, so it doesn't mean that you actually have to physically go and create a player model. It takes care of all that stuff for you. So really all we need to do is just start up some DP clients using the GoldSim player. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We have multiple ways to do it, and I highly recommend that you go to our manual. Go to the GoldSim. It's just help.goldsim.com. And we have a whole section here on distributed processing. And it was actually helpful for me to go back through this again, preparing for this. There are a lot of things I was just reminded of because I don't use it, every day. But anyway, so I highly recommend going through here. There's probably some things you didn't know, even if you've been using it. So one of the ways to start up a new DP client is just using the start run command. So you just go over here to start and you start typing run. So here's this run command. You can also do the Windows key with an R, and it pulls this thing up and it lists all the recent commands I've done. And here's the one I was doing before, and this is what you'll want to do, and it's in the manual. But essentially you just need, in quotes, in double quotes, the path to the player on your machine. So it's really easy. If you're wondering where it is, this is where it is. GoldSim is a 32-bit application, Windows desktop application, right? So it'll be in program files x86, GTG, GoldSim 15 if you have the latest version, and then there it is. So you just put that all in double quotes. That will cause the application to start up, but we want to do something in addition. We need to put in an argument here with a dash. So space and then dash DP client. Just put in DP client, and that converts it to it'll cause it to start up as a client. And the client looks a little different. I'll show you what it looks like. So let me maybe if I oh, okay, well, I'll just have this in the background. All right, so I'll go ahead and click OK. And here up in the top right corner, you see that we have a DP client, and down here in my tray, my whatever this is called, my program bar, you see I have a player. The green icon means the player, and it's a DP client, it's called. So it's just this mini shell, you could say. You don't interact with it. It just shows you the progress and which realization it's running. And also note the port. So a lot of it in your company, wherever your organization, wherever you're at, probably has firewalls set up, and in which case you would need to adjust, or you need to get your IT help to clear these ports. And these are going to be numbered based on what it says in our documentation. You can see this one says 5563, and it'll just keep going up from there. But you can see in here we have a whole page on right here, configuring Windows firewall to permit connections. So you'd want to read through this if you have that kind of a problem. And you'll notice when it won't be able to, connect, it won't be able to activate. So that'll become clear pretty quickly, but that should be pretty straightforward to do that. Anyway, so once we have that up and running, now we're ready to activate the client. So I'm just going to go in here and click on this button right here, new DP client. And for me, I'm just running it on my computer. I'm not going out on our network and running on a server or anything like that. But you could probably connect to cloud machines, probably. But anyway, so that's something we haven't tested internally, but I've heard of people doing that. Okay, so I'm just going to put localhost, and that's my machine. So now that I have one running, I can come down in my program bar down here, hover. Notice I have just one, so I can activate just one. So I click on that. Now it shows me the port, and it says there's a connection. So that's great. It won't be very useful unless I do more. So I'm going to Windows R and then enter And I'll do it 4 times since, well, let me just do 2. This model is pretty fast. Okay, so I'll add one more localhost again. Now I could have just done 2. If I had already started up 2, I could have just said 2 instances. But anyway, so now I can click on this to activate. I think I can also just click over here. If you have a whole bunch, already, you just add all these rows. And then if you have that many up and running, then you can, I think, well, we'll see. Okay, yeah, there it goes. So I had to find it, and there it is. So now we have the connection. Now we're ready to do the run. So actually, let me add just a couple more. I'm just worried it's going to take a long time because I remember that was taking a while. So let me just do a couple more. And this is what you would be able to do on your machine if you don't even have the DP Plus license. You could do 4 like this. Okay, so I'm going to add 2 more. So there they are. I'll check the boxes. There they are. They're all connected. Okay, so now I can do 4. I need to run 100 realizations. So I'm going to go ahead, and here's the part where you kind of need to think about, okay, do I want to run multiple realizations per DP client? And probably you do. It just depends on how long the run is. If each realization takes an hour, then no, I think you would just have them all run one at a time. But if your runtime is like mine, where it's maybe like a couple seconds or maybe 5 seconds or 10 or whatever, then I'd probably want to have it run a few realizations before sending. See, what it does is if you have it just run one at a time, after each realization, it will send its results back over to this GoldSim model, which is the controller. This is called the DP controller, our main model. So it will send that information back over from each client at the end of each realization, unless you have this set up where you want each one to run a number of times. So what we could do is say, well, let's have them each run 25. That's dividing 100 by 4. So that sounds good. Also, keep in mind that you might have auxiliary files. So you might have a spreadsheet that the model interacts with. Maybe you have a DLL that it interacts with. In those cases, then you'd want these files to be, well, you probably want it to keep them over there, so that your subsequent runs don't have to send the files over there again. So anyway, it's just we have to do these things, right? Because you're interacting with external files. So that's what we have to do. So we have to send over a copy if you're doing that kind of thing. That means those environments over there need to also be compatible. So you need to have Microsoft Office installed, right? If you're using Excel, if you're interacting with Excel, they need to be installed on all the client machines. So anyway, 25 each. That's what we're going to do. I'll go ahead and hit run. And now if I put my cursor down here, and I hover over these DP clients, then once it starts running, see, it took a while there, right? So it was doing some setup, but now it's running. So you can see that they're all, you can see the numbering. We've got each doing a quarter of them. And so maybe, we could see a slight gain if we, change up the number from, instead of 25, we try some other number. And maybe we get a slightly different result. But the thing that's really going to make a big difference is how many are you able to distribute to. That's what's going to make a big difference. And especially if you're using multiple machines, then it's going to get really fast. But for my machine, I found that I could do somewhere between 15 and, no, I'd say somewhere between 12 and 16 cores, just because that's my processor on my laptop. So it just depends on your system, but that was working pretty well for me, that number. And so it would probably finish a little bit faster. This takes 1 minute, so maybe beforehand it would have, been, maybe 4 times that number. So it makes a difference, if you're having to iterate, especially. And maybe debugging. If you're trying to debug a Monte Carlo simulation model, this makes it a lot faster. So anyway, a lot of benefits to allowing for that. So the other thing that you can do, oh, and by the way, once it's all completed, then you can look at the run log, And the run log rolls in information from all of the all these clients. So here they are. They all ran. There's no like errors being reported here for these 4 different DP clients. But one thing to just keep in mind is that there are log files written from these clients. This was actually news to me. I'm embarrassed to admit it. I've been using GoldSim for so long, and maybe I forgot. I'll give myself the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I just forgot. But the log files, let's talk about these logs. I got to find them over here. Here we go. Distributed processing log files. So these will be written to a location right here. Program data GTG. So let's just go over there and check it out. Let me bring over my file manager. Okay. Well, actually, am I already there? Program data G. Okay, yeah, I'm there. Okay, so you can see it puts just DP client log, and then it appends the the port number that we had. So there's these logs. If I double click on one, and it just shows all the stuff that happened during all that process. But it should say that there's if something happened, maybe if there's a runtime error and it had to close down, or maybe it just quit for some reason. But anyway, so there are some kinds of things that don't get written though. So we need to be clear about that. Anyway, log files document the communication that takes place between the controller and the client and can be useful for debugging. So, if a machine is having a problem or something and you're not getting your data back, maybe you could look at the log file and maybe go over to this specific one for that port and see what's happening. Anyway, so I just wanted to make sure that you knew about that. And somebody was asking me after the last session, I just want to make sure I bring this up. It's not fully resolved yet in my mind, but they asked about early error detection. So let's say you're running a model, it takes a long time to run, maybe even with DP, and you get an error, there's some bad thing that happens, but maybe it's like something that you trigger in the model. It's not like an error. It's something you catch with an interrupt that is supposed to, abort the model. These interrupt outputs, I don't think they're going to. We should test that. That was actually one of the tests I was going to do. I think it would be a good time to just test it. Then we do it live and we learn together. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to say, okay, let's say we have an error in our model, and I think I already set it up in the other. Let me just go to the other model. So I have this little bit bigger model that takes a while to run. And what I did is I said, let's just trigger an event to occur. And this event will occur about 4.5 years into the simulation, but only do it on realization 33. So on realization 33, we should expect that this thing will trigger. And when that does trigger, then this interrupt will say, show a message, add to a warning to the run log, interrupt simulation is the message we should see in our log. And then we could just say abort and return to edit mode. That's like killing everything. I mean, we could try to say continue, but I think these get ignored. I read that. So if you just said continue simulation, I think for DP process, if you did a DP run, this would just get ignored. So I'm going all the way here. Like, let's just abort. So it throws it out, or it tells this simulation to terminate. So let's see what happens. I'm curious about this one. The other thing you can do with DP processing, which is kind of cool, is you can set up this file that's called a DPL file. And this I created by exporting. So if I go up here to run, and then I go run on network, you'll see it has these already set up right here. And just imagine you have a big network and multiple machines, and you've got all these machine names you put in here. So you can save that as a file. You just go over here and you hit this button right here, export the client list. And that client list becomes this thing right here. And you can edit it, by the way, in a text editor, which also could be nice to have that option, by the way, right? So you might have multiple, of these files for doing different things. Oops. Oh gosh. Okay. um, this is a really simple list. That's all it is. It just points to all the different computer names. But if you had a complex, network of computers being running, then this could be quite a list that you'd want to save, right? So anyway, that's pretty nice. So what that means is, as long as I have the number of these DP clients open and running, then we could just import that list and be ready to go. So first I need to run these. I need to open up all 10 of these. The other thing that's nice is because it's just a simple run command. I just created this simple little batch file. I mean, it's so simple, but anyway, it could be useful, depending. But all it does, you can it's just getting some input from you. But anyway, this is really all it does. It's just this for loop right here. So it just says, okay, you're going to get the number of clients from the user. The user types it in, and then we just repeat this, which is executing the DP client, right, command. So it's really simple. But anyway, so that means all you have to do is just come over here and open up a terminal and then just type that in. Starts clients bat. How many DP clients would you like to start? And I already have 4. Oh, there's one more thing I just wanted to mention. Sometimes it's annoying to have these up and running and you forget how many you had open and you want to do a different number, or you just want them to close. I think the best way to close them is to come back over here to the manager. Here are the 4. Hit this restart or update clients button right here, and then they'll all reconnect. Once those are connected, then it makes it easy to turn them off. This is actually terminating this X. It doesn't just disconnect them like it does when you just check the box. Well, okay, you get an option, but anyway, okay. So what you can do is you can hit this X and you can terminate them. And so I'll say, yeah, I want to terminate them. And now you see down here in the programs bar, they're gone. So anyway, that's how you can kind of okay, I want to start over. Now what I want to do is I want to start 10 DP clients immediately. So I'll go back over here to this program, this little simple batch file, and I'll just say 10. I want to start 10. And there it did it. So I'll close this. Unfortunately, they got put on top of each other, which isn't that big of a deal, I guess. You have to move them. I guess it's just this pile, all piled up. But anyway, we can just hover our mouse down here. You can see here's how many? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is 10. Okay. So now what I can do is I can come back over here and I can import my list. So I'm just going to my same project location where I had that DPL file, and I just select that. And then do I want to remove these? Yeah. And it just replaced it with these 10. Do you want to update the status? Yes. That's just going to connect them all. But you can see down here, they're all still running, so that's good. Now it's just going to activate them. So I say yes, so I don't have to click all those check boxes, and I can refresh. Yep, they're all good to go. So now I have 10, and now I can say, okay, I want to run this for 100 realizations. Let's do, maybe it takes a while to run each one. I'll do 5 each. And say, okay, and now don't forget we have this interrupt, and we're going to see what happens with that. But now I'm going to put my cursor over this. Now it's running. I can't remember if there are files that has to transfer for this model, but anyway, pretty soon it should start running. So it's copying over the player model over all those locations. Okay, here we go. It's running now. So next time we run it, it shouldn't take as long, I hope. Well, we'll see. Anyway, so what we're watching for is in any of those screens that you see down there, those little white windows, do we have an error message that pops up? And I thought it would have happened on number 33. So that's number 4 over here, right here. Oh, it's on 32 right now. Okay, now we're running 33. Okay, there it is. Okay, so it wrote something, right? Oh, you can see it up. Oh, well, you can see it right there when I hover over it. So you can see that that it caught that error. So that's good to know. At least it reports it. We have a report of it. And I'm imagining that we're going to be able to go over to this File Explorer location once it's completed. And I have to remember, yeah, here we are. While it's running, it creates these folders. In these folders, you're going to find the model file. See if I open this up. I don't want to do anything in here, but because it's using these files. But um, here you can see uh, they've got, there's both the data file, just as temporary, right? And the model. But I think this stays, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. These might get removed once we close the DP clients. We can check that. But anyway, the point is we have to go over here and look at which one had this error, and it was this 5566. So if I come over here and I look at 5566, it was edited on 423. So let's see if we, huh? Well, I'm 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 at a little bit of a loss, unfortunately, because I don't know what that means. I don't know that it put anything into this log. Maybe it didn't need to, because I will say that I'm pretty sure it went into the run log, and the run log was well, here it is. View the run log. Yeah, I know it reports the interrupt, but I was just wondering if it reported the DP client. Okay, look at this. Oh, star, star, star. Oh, okay. Oh, um, okay. I'm a little bit surprised that it puts these stars on all of these, indicating that it didn't complete. But I wonder if it didn't end up going past 33. Let's see. So I'll close this, and now we should be in result mode. We are in result mode. So if I go and I look at, let's say, for example, I want to see a chart or a plot. So this should have all of the realizations that we ran. Okay. So what happened is it aborted number 33 and everything stopped. That's as far as it went. It didn't run any further. So that's actually pretty nice, because then it didn't make us wait for all the realizations to complete. It actually stopped it right there. So now would probably be a good time to see if we can see a difference with a different type of situation. Like, let's say we say um, skip remainder of this current realization and continue. Perhaps we could try that. So let me just check, make sure we have 10. We have 10. Okay, so I'm going back up here to run on network, and then I'm just going to hit this recycle. I keep forgetting what it's called, update clients button. Okay, here we go. So um, now I'll run it, and so then we'll just see how it goes. I guess I could have restarted, like shut down and restarted the DP clients, to clear those critical event note fields. But anyway, we'll know when we see if it runs all the realizations. I guess I didn't realize that I thought it would have gone over 33. But I guess what happens is maybe the other ones ran. I mean, because we have ones running from 41 to 45, 46 to 50, 36 to 40. So those should be running right now. I guess what happens is because we don't have 33, then it can't go beyond it. but let's see what happens. Okay, this is taking a little while. So because we're only about halfway through, or we're not even halfway. We're at 40. Well, there we go. We're starting to transition. We're around halfway. So during that, then what I'll do is I'll go back over here and talk about this a little bit more, just to see if anybody has any other questions. I know that sometimes it gets a little tricky, if you're interacting with other files. So I just want you to know that we have this. I mean, this feature enables working with them, but it's just something that maybe hasn't been all the way thought through, and something to think about, to make sure that if you're planning on distributing to many, many machines on your network, that just those things need to be, ironed out first. But it would be a good idea probably just to go through this entire chapter of our manual before committing to something like that. However, if you just want to run and play around with it, it definitely saves a lot of time. I use it all the time when I'm just trying to work with a model and see its Monte Carlo results and redo things. Even if it only takes 30 seconds to run the model, it's kind of annoying to have to sit there for 30 seconds when you could just sit there for whatever it is, 7 seconds. So anyway, just for when you're having to rerun and rerun a lot. But I would say most people using this are those that have really long run times, and if they don't use DP, they would have to wait 24 hours or something like that. It's long run times. So that's what some people are dealing with. Okay. All right. So we finished 2 minutes, 17 seconds. And so let's just look at the run log real quick. And okay, I don't have those 3 stars anymore saying that it stopped. It did put in the note in the main run log, so that's good. The interrupt happened on realization 33 at the time that I told it to. Okay, so this is all being reported just fine at the main root level, right? This is we're now in the controller, the DP controller. So that information was brought over, and we now have it over here. So that's good. So we would know what happened, but it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, that we have all more realizations, but let's just see. Yeah, we have all 100, but maybe not 33. Let me just type that in. Well, let me type 32 in. Okay, then I'll go up. Oh, there we go. So you can see it started to run, and then it just it just died after that, and it's just held whatever its last value was. Okay, so so that makes sense. I wonder if that would. Yeah, we'd probably. Well, maybe that was a bad decision to click on that. We have a lot of data points, but anyway, yeah, it looks like it's ignored. We would have seen a horizontal line, I think, right there. So anyway, I think this one's ignored. That's good. All right. So that should not play a role when you're looking at a statistic, for example. Then that flat line one is just probably removed from the statistics. It looks like. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. The other thing that I wanted to make note of is that you can abort a run and then start it up again, which that actually was news to me as well. So I wanted to walk through that. Okay, so I just went back to edit mode, and now I'm let's see. Yeah, let's just restart. I'll just restart a run and hit refresh on this. And so sometimes what might happen is you're going through running, and all of a sudden one of your machines has a problem, and you need to change where you're pointing to over here. So you can do that. So let's get to the point where they're running a few. But anyway, I'm just waiting for a little while because I want them all to at least complete one realization. Okay, so they've all completed at least one, and so I can hit abort, and then so we can close this, and you can see they're deactivated, but I'm pretty sure that if I just hit this update, then I'll be able to resume where we left off. So imagine, you make a change in here, like you go in here and because you can edit this, right? Um, so let's say you point to a different machine and then we hit this and it has a connection. You'd have to start up the DP client on that machine first, right? But anyway, in theory, then you'd be able to go here and have this and then resume. And so it looks like, yeah, this one's on 36. Oh, huh. Well, I guess I cannot confirm yes or no if it started off at the same place. Um, but that was my understanding. But at least it's pretty straightforward to start over and be able to make a change to wherever your machines are. And all you have to do is just hit the update button and then you're up and running again. So, okay. So now you've seen a few things that you can do. And I just wanted to make sure that you understood where the files go. Oh yeah, I can't stop yet. And how to generally work with this. Essentially, what you want to do is you could probably just Google search your processor for your machine, and it will give you an idea of like how many simultaneous processes you can have going at the same time. But you need to just keep in mind that you want to subtract a couple. Um, Somewhere I read that someone else once said you just need to subtract one for your controller, for the main operating system, or I mean your main GoldSim model. But somewhere else I thought I saw it says for that and for just the operating system. So anyway, if you subtract on mine, it's 20. If I subtract 2, it's 18 would be the max. But it did say probably go a little lower than that. It's kind of a rule of thumb. I don't really have a clear answer myself. Maybe if you knew a lot more about your processor, then you could make that a better decision. But anyway, you're kind of fine tuning it at that point. But the the important thing here is that you kind of just play around with it a bit at first, and then you'll figure out kind of the optimal number of realizations to do per DP client. Like my numbers were okay. It took like a few seconds for them to all. They weren't all in line, because some of them take a little longer to run than others. But anyway, it was pretty close to ending at the right time. Okay, so that was 2 minutes 21 seconds total. But I think that was to run all the realizations except for 33. So so that's pretty nice. 2 minutes to complete everything. Anyway, that's pretty much the model that I wanted to share, or the feature. And I'll wait around a bit here to answer any questions that you might have. But otherwise, thanks for joining, and we hope to see you next month. Let me start recording again, because this should be added to our video. Okay, let's look at this page. Distributed processing. The files are copied to a working folder. You can manually change this. If the GoldSim model uses external elements, okay, well, we're not doing that. If the GoldSim model uses spreadsheet elements, okay, so the spreadsheet element is not the same thing as the time history result. Let's just start with that point. The spreadsheet element is, let's just go in the model. Well, I don't want to go to edit mode. Let me just go here, just so everyone's clear what I'm talking about. Let's say okay, fine. Let's say we have this simple model right here. We can export results through this, right? Right here. So that's a time history being exported, but there's also the spreadsheet element, which is what manual is talking about. So this element we can export. Let me just make sure that's right. If the associated spreadsheet file has a path, then it will be copied to the same path on the client system. Okay, so it might not give you what you want, because if you want a time history, then that would be difficult to do with this element, unfortunately. Anyway, let's look. If the associated spreadsheet file has a local path name, then it will be copied to the, okay, so that would probably be the best thing to do. Just make it a relative path. And then you can at least work with an Excel file, right? So you could have something go out to Excel and then come back into GoldSim if you wanted, for example. But at the end of the time history results element, the problem with those is it kind of has to wait till it's all done before it would ship all the data over, so it can't really be done well, or it wouldn't be able to be done on a DP client because they only run a fraction of the total realizations. So I guess this is just the way we figured by design we're going to have to be able to do it. So that's the limitation you're up against as far as working with a spreadsheet. I hope that helps. I hope that helps with that. Yeah, that is a bit of a thing to have to work around if you're trying to, like for example, well, I don't know. We'll see. I feel like that would probably be the best thing you'd want to do is use a spreadsheet element because maybe you would send out some outputs from GoldSim. Maybe another model would process that and then it maybe comes back, and you could even do that on a time step or every year or whatever. So in theory, you could send out an array, of 365 days if you're doing a 1 year, if you're doing multi-year simulation with 1 day time steps. I mean, you could get the data out. It would just take a while. And it would go onto the machine. It would be saved on the machine where the DP client is running. It could be in the same folder. So it's possible, I guess, but maybe not what everybody was expecting. I'm not sure. I hope that helps. Thanks for the question. Somebody else asked, if you're curious, by the way, in the previous session, they wanted to do some early detection of an error. And so I thought about it, and well, now that we've tested it, we've already seen right now with an interrupt element, you can essentially get an early detection. I mean, it will be done. The model will just abort once you hit 30, in our case, 33, realization 33. It turns out there were some other DP clients also running, all the way up to 65 or something. And, well, it doesn't matter. We hit 33 and that terminated, and the element was set up and configured to terminate the whole model. And so that's a really good way to, if you wanted early detection and not have to wait, if it took 24 hours, a lot of processing time, it would save a lot of energy, actually, to have it terminate completely and all of the model just wrap up right after that error happens. And so anyway, that answers that question. I don't see any other questions. So thanks again for joining, and hope to see you next month.